This is the regular weekly meeting of the Mobile City Council for Tuesday, July 18th, 2017. Please stand as Council Vice President Frederick Richardson leads us in an invocation and remain standing afterwards for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Maybe bow our heads, please. Eternal and all-wise God, it is again that your humble servant bow before you, thanking you for all of the blessings that you bestowed among us. We thank you for allowing us again to assemble as a body. We pray that whatever we do and say here today, you may get glory and honor. Guide us all and forgive us and keep us and cause your faith to shine among us. In the matchless name of Jesus, I pray. Amen. Amen.
Roll call, President Gregory.
Here.
Vice President Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Manzi. Here. Councilmember Small.
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
We have some special guests who are here with us this morning that we will meet momentarily. I know Mr. Manzi is prepared to give out some very special proclamations, so welcome ahead of time. Also, the mayor is not with us this morning. I don't know if George or anybody was going to talk about where the mayor is this morning, but it is a very distinct honor, what he is doing now. He's in Harvard as part of the Bloomberg Initiative program. Y'all will have to explain a little bit more, but we did see some information about that. And of course, this morning he was teased about parking in the yard and, you know, in Boston and all of that sort of thing. So we'll see. I said that I'm sure the people in Boston are having a good time with the mayor's accent. Our rules here at the council are very simple. We just ask everyone to please turn off all of your electronic devices. If you come to the podium to speak, you will have 5 minutes. At the end of 4 minutes, you'll hear the buzzer, and that's your indication that it is time to begin wrapping up your comments. Give us your name and address for the record, and if you have any questions or concerns, be sure to address those to me. I'm the chair, and I'll ask the appropriate member of the staff or the council to respond at that point. I do have another announcement to make sure that you all are aware of. This weekend is the back-to-school tax holiday. The state is participating, as is the city and county of Mobile. That begins Friday through Sunday, and during the weekend, the city and the state sales tax will be waived on certain items, and those mostly include clothing that's under $100, school supplies, books, computers, laptops, and tablets, and all of these have to be under $750. So this is a great opportunity to go ahead and get those school supplies now while this tax holiday is in effect. And we'll also be putting this in our newsletters, and you can find it also on the state link on their website if you need any more information. So with that, we'll go ahead and turn to Ms. Merchant, who is sitting in today for Ms. Lambert.
Approval of minutes of the meeting of July the 11th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Communications from the mayor's office.
Nothing here.
Can you tell us exactly what it is the mayor is doing?
The mayor's with a number of other mayors from around the United States who competed for and were awarded a scholarship, if you will, for a learning experience this week under the auspices of Bloomberg Philanthropies and hosted by Harvard. And there's a lot of educational sessions and also a lot of collaboration among the mayors. I think you're probably right. Mayor Stimpson is one of few mayors from this part of the world, so he's probably having a lot more experiences than are the other mayors. So I'm sure he'll report upon his return. Thank you.
Right, that's great. Thank you, Paul. All right, Ms. Merchant.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Appeals. We have an appeal of Andrea Moore and E. Parks Moore concerning the Architectural Review Board's denial of the application to construct side and rear fencing at 102 Lavert Avenue.
All right, this is an appeal, so if the appellant would like to come to the podium.
Good morning, I'm Andrea Moore, 102 Lavert Avenue.
I have prepared 7 folders for the council as well, if you all would like to. We have applied for a fence, and while I'm certainly no expert in architectural design, we engaged an architect who would take into account all of the historic elements that need to be in a fence design that's in one of our neighborhoods. And so he is also here today to speak to that. We went before the ARB, and the standard of review that they have is actually in section 9, and it says that the board shall not approve any application proposing a material change in appearance unless it finds the change will not materially impair the architectural or historic value of the building. So I also just want to cite an expert on this because the city has certainly hired the best, and we fully have faith in their ability to do this. The staff recommendation for this fence in our area says that based on historic precedent, past variances, pertinent variance, and architectural design, the staff does not believe the increased height would impair the architectural or the historical character of the district. Based on the aforementioned and B1 through 3, the staff of the Historic Development Commission recommends approval of this application. So while we were disappointed that the board itself denied the application, we would refer back to the experts and agree with the staff recommendation. So we would ask for your approval today.
All right, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Okay.
Yes, I'm Douglas Curley, 10 Wisteria Avenue. I am the architect for the project, and I think Andre has summed it up pretty well. The fence, I think, in question, the portion of it goes along Old Shell Road, and normally a 6-foot high fence would be required, but that's usually between residences, but this is between a residential area and Old Shell Road, so we asked for the 7-foot high fence. I don't really, y'all have got a booklet there, if anything on there. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Any questions?
I have a question.
Mrs.
Okay.
Rich?
The height of the fence that sits along Old Shell is 7 feet?
Yes.
Okay, I think we were,
Yeah, the posts are that stick up a little higher than the
Oh,
fence.
okay.
That's
Okay,
what that may have
okay.
confused you. So,
All right,
I
anyone
just
else?
wanted to make sure I understood.
thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, ma'am?
I'm Corinna Luce, and I'm at 104 Levert Avenue. I'm the house just to the north of the Moore's house. And I appreciate the Architectural Review Board trying to provide consistent administration of standards. However, I agree with the staff recommendations in this particular case. The neighborhood has fences that border Old Shell Road and Spring Hill Avenue that exceed the recommended height. In addition, there are several interior fences between properties that exceed 7 feet. The Moore's south boundary is across the street from an entire city block of commercial and church property. This is an increasingly high-traffic area, high-traffic stretch of Old Shell Road. The height they are seeking will assist with light and noise reduction. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We heard from the appellant. Don't know if, Flo, if you wanted to speak on behalf of the staff or CART or the ARB?
Thank you, Ms. Gregory, council members. Cart Blackwell, Historic Development, resident of District 2. Speaking on behalf of the board, while they acknowledge the staff report and the existence of precedent, their ruling was based on being more consistent with their guidelines and not wanting to create a canyon effect of fencing.
All right, any questions of Mr. Blackwell? Okay. Ms. Kessler, did you want to speak?
I think that the appellant has agreed that the fence is higher than the guidelines. The question is whether the ARB acted appropriately or not in enforcing the guidelines and denying the application. The standard for review on this appeal to the council is that the appeal shall be determined solely on whether the board, the ARB, in rendering its decision acted beyond the limits of its powers or abused its discretion. On behalf of the board, I would say that the board enforced its design guidelines appropriately. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Madam
Mr. Jim? Oh, okay. All right, Mr. Richardson?
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, I think the issue is whether or not the board acted arbitrary or capricious in this matter. We heard this morning that the board has approved taller fences in this community. So this is not the first fence that was going up taller than what the guidelines. If you go through this community, I doubt if you will find any of the fences that's consistent. They up, down, high, low, throughout the community. So to pick this particular fence, to say this fence is too high, when the fence next door, around the corner, and the rest of them are higher, it means that this board is arbitrary and capricious in this matter. The professionals in this body were the staff members, not the board. The staff members recommended the approval of this fence, and I believe Mr. Brightwell, who spoke to us today, is a part of that staff that recommended approval. I wrote you all a letter. I asked you this morning to support this venue, this appeal. I'm supporting it, and I'm asking all of my council members to support it because it is, in fact, arbitrary and capricious. They should be allowed to build this fence. If you take a look at what they are taking down, that's running along O'Shea Road, it's just bushes, and it's not anything that is pleasant to the eye, what they're replacing. So it's going to be an enhancement to the community, and it's also going to be a buffer against the noise going up and down O'Shea Road. I think they're entitled to this fence. I ask you all to support me on this appeal.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, is there a motion on the floor?
I so move that we accept the appeal.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any other discussion?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
Thank you. I certainly appreciate the Architectural Review Board's diligence and standards that they set. In looking at the wall and the footings that already exist, it certainly puts into play the size of the fence from that point on. So I understand the need to automatically be higher, since there are other fences in the area, although we did learn that the new guidelines were adopted more recently, so that the other things took place or were given is really not apples to apples. But again, I think maybe that review board wants to look at fencing along a busy corridor like Old Shell, and perhaps looking at a height that would be a little higher than what they think should be throughout neighborhoods or interior into the neighborhood. And in listening to the residents that live nearby and also the applicant or appellant, I believe that this is a standard for this section of the corridor with their height is in keeping, and will be supporting their efforts of the appeal. But I normally fall right in line with the guidelines of the group that is looking out for the higher standards. And sometimes I wish those higher standards existed out in West Mobile. But again, that's certainly something that, you know, this council is able to look at a case by case, and the ability to have the appeal. And I understand that a variance was already granted, which would be a step. So, you know, I'm very comfortable, but I would not call the group, this is my personal opinion, arbitrary or capricious. They're just trying to uphold those great standards that actually increase property values at the end of the day. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, all in favor? Aye. Appeal? I'm sorry, opposed. Any in opposition? All right. The appeal is granted.
We have a request for a waiver of the noise ordinance on September 8th at Spanish Plaza Park from 6 to 8:30 p.m. At Cathedral Square on September the 8th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. 82 Burtonwood Drive on September the 10th from 2 to 10 p.m. and at Taylor Park on July 22nd from 12 until 6 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on these? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Public hearings. Today is a public hearing to rezone property at 3450 Gerby Road, north side of Gerby Road, 160 feet east of Hillcrest Road, from B1 and B3 to B1.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this particular rezoning, please come to the podium. Good morning.
Bobby McBride, Rowe Surveying, 205 Laughlin Drive. Here to represent Mr. Pesnell on this application. We're aware that it has been recommended for approval. I don't know that I could add anything to it. I think we covered everything in Planning Commission. Ms. Rich was there and we discussed some items. I would like to say that there was some concern about the curb cut to Gerby Road. There will just be one curb cut put in place. The two outstanding lots will serve that same driveway at the time they're developed. The property to the west along Hillcrest is wetland. It's been designated as wetland, and it will not be developed. There will be no curb cuts, no connection through there. It will serve as a permanent buffer. Mr. Pesnell has developed some nice property out in West Mobile, the Brookside project, and he takes a lot of pride in the way it looks and the upkeep and the landscaping, and I think it'll be an asset to that part of the community there. So I would ask that you would please give approval this morning.
Great. Thank you so much. Any questions?
I don't have
Mrs.
a question,
Rich?
but I would like to thank the applicant for their willingness to work with surrounding neighborhoods and community leaders. We met a number of times because of the first kind of blush that happened on the site with the clear cutting. But I believe that people understand what exactly will be built now, and it is a plan unit development which nobody appealed up to council. So exactly the drawings that were shown to the community will be rendered back as the program. So again, thank you for the willingness, and please let Mr. Pesnell know that that was mostly appreciated by everybody involved in the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Madam President, just a
Mr.
short
Williams?
comment. There are some people that are south of Gerby that believe that all in the area that they can see and drive by is also in their district. And I'd just like to thank Ms. Rich for representation on the Planning Commission and for the response by both the applicant and Ms. Rich when the questions were raised by District 4 residents. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? All right.
Public hearing to fix costs for demolition of structure at 1566 East Dublin Street.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience who would like to speak to this demolition and fixing the costs, please come to the podium. Okay, with that, the public hearing is closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Damian Marks, Sr.
Is Mr. Marks?
He's not here.
He's not here?
He's not here.
Okay.
William Carroll.
For those of you who may not remember, William is a former colleague of ours. William and I actually began our council service at the same time. So, William, it's good to have you back.
Thank you. Good morning. As most of you know, I was here a week ago today about the same time to talk about random burglaries and crime that were happening within the District 2 area. I can say that after speaking with the public safety director, I'm used to calling him chief, and the chief of police and a few others within the city, we have, or all of us have now caught this burglar. But that's the good thing. But my wife still wants you to find her TV, by the way. Okay. But that's the good thing. But being that we have an idea of the hot spot that's causing this, and being that this has been a habitual hot spot in District 2 now for about 17 years, being that we've closed it maybe on many occasions, I think that the council now, along with the mayor, needs to find a way to find stronger legislation to combat this and to combat not the individuals that live there, because individuals need places to go. I mean, everybody needs somewhere to live, but there needs to be some thought of legislation that helps us to combat situations where the owner knows that he has a situation that is causing harm to the district or to the neighbors in the neighborhoods, to where we can legally go after the owner stronger than we have ever before. Now, 5, 6, 7 years ago, we were working down that road. Now, I don't know how far we've gotten since I've left here, but we need to pick that up again, and we need to get on it extremely aggressively so that we can prevent things like this from happening. Other than that, you know, everything's great. You know, I'm glad that we were able to catch this guy. I mean, we actually caught him the same night. I mean, it's amazing what can happen when everybody's working on the same page and we're all talking to each other. And it's amazing when the neighbors get behind you and everybody has a camera going and we can all catch this guy. The other thing that I've heard last week is that the city is revisiting the land bank. And that was a piece of legislation that we all put in place in November of 2007, if y'all remember that. I asked for a copy of it last week. I'm going to ask my council member that I would like to see a copy of it if it's been written or if it's been submitted. I heard that Barbara Drummond submitted it, so I'd like to see it before the end of the week. Email it to me so I can read it, because that was something that was near and dear to me, because we had to fight tooth and nail to get the previous administration to even go along with it. Yeah. So I'd like to see that, because maybe it addresses right of redemptions and other things that will help us take care of blighted properties.
Right. We'll get that to you, William. Thanks.
Be great. Be pleased. But again, a lot of times you have to be just as loud and proud about when immediate action is taken on a situation that's encumbering your neighborhood. So this is an opportunity for me just as loud about let's go getting this guy caught and getting these things done, you know, like we're supposed to do. So good job to the police department and a great response from the mayor's office. But this time, let's go that next step and let's get some legislation in place to where we can actually handle the property owner. All right, you guys have a great day, and hopefully I'll see y'all in another 4 years.
Don't wait so long, William. Thanks.
Resolutions held over. 01224.
Hang on, Ms. Merchant. Mr. Manzi. Oh, almost forgot. Mr. Manzi, I mentioned earlier that we've got some special guests who were here this morning, and Mr. Manzi has some proclamations for you all. So I'm going to ask him to come on down and take care of that. They're right here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am pleased to have this aggregation of young ladies here along with their mentors. This is Ladies Exploring All Possibilities, LEAPS. They come from a variety of schools, they come from a variety of communities, and I've gotten an opportunity to spend some time to communicate with their founder, Ms. Nobles, and also with some of their other mentors. And I'm just pleased that they would take time out of their summer vacations to come down to our council meeting. And to express that pleasure, I'd like to ask that Ms. Nobles and the other mentors would come down, and we do have some, okay, thank you. We do have some certificates and proclamations for these young ladies, just to encourage them not only to stay down this path that you're on now, but also to remain civically engaged, to try to be the change that you want to see. We are here hopefully being responsive to your needs and working to make sure that Mobile is the kind of city that all of you all will want to live in, work in, go and get educated in, and then come back hopefully, or even stay here hopefully, and make your lives and families here. And so continue to listen to your mentors as they try to instill upon you the virtues and the characteristics that you all will need in order to be successful young ladies. So I'm going to start with our mentors. And I'm going to read one of these certificates of recognition, and then I will pass them out to everyone else. This one is to Ms. Shannon Taylor Nobles. And it reads, for participating as a mentor in the 2017 Ladies Exploring All Possibilities mentoring program, founded by President Shannon Taylor Nobles. Through this program, you help to empower young ladies ages 8 to 18 to become strong, confident, successful, and productive leaders of tomorrow. On behalf of the citizens of Mobile, it is an honor and a privilege to extend to you best wishes for success in your future endeavors. Done at the City of Mobile, this 18th day of July 2017, signed by Levon C. Mans. I want to congratulate you especially for having the foresight and the vision for seeing a need, not doing what many of us do. We see a need and sit around and complain about who is doing it, or it's somebody else's responsibility. But you saw it and you moved forward and persevered and enlisted the help of all of these young ladies, and I'm appreciative of all you all do to support her and moreover to support them. So congratulations. Thank you. This is to Miss, and if I massacre your name, it's not intentional, Miss Janita Gamble. All right. Miss T. Northus. Miss Ashley Smith. Miss Andrea Coleman. Miss Chrissy Richardson. Miss Jamaica Richardson. And Miss Tilia Johnson.
Thank you.
Now we also have some certificates for these young ladies. They could very easily be involved in something else. Many of their peers would not be attracted by this kind of a program. So this already shows us that they have some initiative, that they want to go down the right path. And on behalf of the City of Mobile, we want to encourage you to continue to do just that. The sky is no longer the limit. We're making planes that pierce the sky here in the City of Mobile every day. And your future could go as high as the planes that we're building out at Airbus. So I'm going to call you all up. I'm going to read one of these certificates, and then I'm going to ask that you all would come, because I would love, and if my colleagues want to join me, we could get a picture with these.
Sure. Yeah.
This is, it reads thusly. Congratulations to Ms. Delilah Sylvester for participating in the Ladies Exploring All Possibilities mentoring program founded by President Shannon Taylor Nobles. This program empowers young ladies ages 8 through 18 to become strong, confident, successful, and productive leaders of tomorrow. You are also being committed as you enter 6th grade at Sims Middle School. On behalf of the citizens of the City of Mobile, it is our honor and privilege to extend to you best wishes for success in your future endeavors. This is done at the City of Mobile, Alabama, this 18th day of July 2017. Ms. Sylvester, congratulations, and keep up the great work. This is for Ms. Northus. Ms. Coleman, Ms. Bethany Coleman, and Ms. Blakely Coleman. Ms. Williams, Kayla Williams, Ms. Alicia Summerlin, Ms. Kalia Williams, Chloe Williams, Ms. Jordan Hobbs. Ms. Shakiria Hunt. While she's coming, I want to recognize her grandmother, Miss Linda Burke. She helped raise me. All right. Congratulations. Miss Jasmine Hobbs, Miss Olivia Lewis, Miss Brooklyn McDonald, and Miss Brianna Jones. I'm gonna get a picture. Yo, come on, young ladies.
We'd like to try to get everybody and get the council members involved as well. Maybe we can have everybody just come back here.
Right.
If that's easier, can we just ask you all to come back here with us? And then Marion can take the picture from up there.
Maybe we should remain seated.
Well, we could.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we can just stay seated and they can all stand behind us. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, they can stand behind us.
Yeah, we ain't got to worry about being blocked. Blocking
Yeah, thank you. Why don't we move in a little bit and so that, and put your microphones down so that they're not blocking everybody.
Great program.
Y'all put your microphones down so they don't block. There. Yeah, y'all can scooch in. Squeeze in. Come on. You got room for somebody to come in here? Yeah. There you go.
I'll make more room.
Yeah. All right. That's great. Okay, Marion, help direct us.
Yeah.
Levon, you need to get to where we can see you too. And just make sure we can see it.
Well, see, since I'm the tallest, I can't get I mean,
I like it.
wow.
All right, everyone. Look up. Make sure you can see us. Stop hiding.
Yeah, y'all smile.
1, 2.
Got it. All right. Thank you. Thank you all so much and congratulations.
Resolutions held over. Resolution 01224 and 21225 authorize agreement for the acceptance and processing of source-separated recyclables with Emerald Coast Utilities Authority and with AmWaste LLC for the rental of equipment to collect and transport recyclables.
So move.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
I appreciate getting the email from our council attorney on this matter. We held it over from last week, and it was held over even prior to that in order to assure the fact that our solid waste authority, which is responsible for our waste stream, that is exactly what they oversee. And they have an agreement with Waste Management, So there was some uneasiness about removing some of the waste stream, but getting clarification and an understanding that the Solid Waste Authority is backing this proposal. It makes my office more comfortable in seeing this come together for the community. I'm all about recycling. Right now there is a wonderful facility out in the county that a lot of people in 6 use. It's not a single stream, but it has a really great process because it also employs people from Goodwill. So it's a win-win. It's an education tool as well. And citizens do have to sort, but it's a very popular facility. And I look forward in working with the administration in the placement of the transport container that I've seen out and about in 2 locations, and certainly want to work with other citizens when the placement for the district is chosen by the administration to make sure that it's an appropriate location and also screened appropriately as well. So again, my office was waiting for that kind of stamp of approval from the Solid Waste Authority, and I feel that I have been given that and will be voting in the affirmative.
All right, great. Anyone else? All right, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed?
Ordinance is being introduced for the first time, 64025.
By council rules, this ordinance will lay over for 1 week.
All righty.
Consent resolutions being introduced, 03418 through 58424.
Motion for the suspension of the rules for immediate consideration of resolutions 03418 through 58424.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
03418, appoint Christopher Batiste Jr. to the Mobile City County Youth Council.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Resolutions 21419 and 21420 authorize professional services contract with Melinda Gray and Kiara Green to provide services as election specialists for the City of Mobile Absentee Election Office.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
25421 authorize a non-exclusive access easement and right-of-way agreement with Veramar LLC.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
40422 fixed cost for demolition of structure at 1566 East Dublin Street.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
58423 and 424 declared weeds noxious, group 1565, and assessed cost for removal of weeds, group 1557.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yes.
Mrs. Rich?
To my knowledge, there is nothing on this resolution that involves the residents of District 6 as far as the city coming in and removing the high weeds and grass. Although I had an initiative coming out of Pinehurst, and one of the homes, and the reason I'm asking this is one of the homes that's been abandoned and had a lot of weeds and everything turns out to be a HUD home. And I was wondering if the city ever uses any resource to work with that agency to make sure that those homes do not go into disrepair in neighborhoods and bring down property values. Apparently it was cut, so it's abated now, but it's an ongoing thing because the house has been abandoned for the last 2 years and it's in very bad shape. So I didn't know what my office could do to further any kind of communication on that particular issue. Is there any suggestions or thoughts on that?
Mr. Woods?
We try to treat all of the homes the same, and if there's a particular owner that we can get in contact with, then of course then we notice that owner. But if it is abandoned property, then we treat them the same. Doesn't matter whether or not they're, under the umbrella of HUD or not. So what I would say is continue to report, continue to let us know when you see those properties so that we can keep them in the hopper and make sure we're abating the nuisances as they are, I guess, as they come to our notice.
Because what I was thinking is going to happen is it's going to get in the rotation list and then just be mowed, but the condition of the property will not be put up for sale or maintained, and it's been vacant for 2 years, according to the residents that back up to this or live near it.
Strong likelihood, but we would have to take a look at the specifics and see if there are any
Okay.
encumbrances on it, whether or not it goes into our abatement program.
thank you. Anybody else? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 01430 through 31429.
Those resolutions were labeled for 1 week by council rules.
Announcements.
All right, let's start with Mr. Richardson today.
All righty. Thank you, Madam President. As we predicted, the bids for the drainage project on Grand Boulevard was opened up on the 12th. And it's going to be a while before we can get the contract before us, but we expect very soon to get the construction contract before us so they could start stopping the flooding on Grand Boulevard. Looking forward to that contract. Today, we had an item on the agenda, a pay-as-you-go contract dealing with District 1. That's going to be Main Street and Trinity Gardens. We expect, I hope that this is the last contract we have to vote on. And from here, we would actually have the construction contract to resurface all of Main Street from Pritchard Avenue all the way to I-65. I want to remind the citizens traveling the O'Shea Road corridor and the Florida Street corridor on that, because of the public project in Midtown, there will be some road construction. And it's going to slow the traffic down. I think we're going to have to use one lane in that area for a while, so expect to be delayed. You can travel Sprinkle Avenue or Dolphin, and you won't have to slow down. But if you're coming down O'Shea Road, when you get near Florida Street, you're going to have to slow it down, because not only do we have construction on the building itself, but the road is, we're going to have a construction contractor on the road, and it's going to slow matters down. Hopefully by December, before Christmas, Publix will be open, so will the roads. So for a few months, there will be a delay when you come into this area. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Richardson. Mr. Daves?
Thank you, Madam President. I went to Art Walk on Friday night, and there was a big crowd there. A lot of people participating in the kickoff to Alabama Hip Hop Week, and there was a big crowd, a lot going on downtown. The council will remember that that one of the events during Hip Hop Week was going to actually occur in District 3, but across the street from District 5, and at a venue where we had where residents of District 5 had complained about the noise in the past. My wife and I went out there, excuse me, my wife and I went out there Sunday evening, and I'm happy to report that everything was in good order. I drove around the neighborhood, and the loudness seemed under control. It's here Tuesday morning. I received no complaints from the residents, so I commend both the owner of the venue and Dirty Dan, the other organizers of Hip Hop Week, for putting on something there Sunday night that was helpful to the overall cause and also respectful of the neighborhood. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Manzi?
Yes, Madam President, I want to announce that we will be having a meeting at the All Saints Episcopal Church at 6 o'clock on Thursday. Public Safety Director Barber, Chief Batiste, Captain Jones will be in attendance. All of this is in response to the uptick we've seen in burglaries and crimes in general in the Oakley District. Citizens of that community are certainly invited to come out and to answer questions of our law enforcement professionals relative to their plans and the strategies that they'll deploy in order to mitigate some of the concerns that you all have expressed to me as your council person. I'm appreciative. Former Councilor Carroll referenced them apprehending the gentleman responsible for his crime, but we have a law enforcement professionals who day in and day out do this not only in the Oakley Garden District, but in every community in District 2 and across this city. And so I guess it hits a little closer to home when it is your home that's burglarized, and I understand that, certainly have sympathy for that. So I'm asking citizens of that community to come out, or any community that has questions relative to concerns you have with burglaries and crime in general, to come out, because we'll have, again, our public safety director, our chief of police, and our new police commander, our new captain, Captain Jones. Met with him this morning. He has a military background. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy. Had a great working relationship with Captain Reed. I was able to call him when I got calls 2 and 3 in the morning. When I hung up with the citizen, I called the captain. Because as a council person, I don't direct police officers to do anything. None of us can. And so I think sometimes we ought to be real careful, not only on our perspective, but from a citizen's perspective, that they don't read into our authority more than there is. We have to relay your concerns to the appropriate police official, who then decides what strategy needs to be deployed in order to respond to whatever your concern is. And so I'm happy to facilitate this meeting on Thursday, but I'll have very little to say absent creating the conduit and the environment where citizens and the police, the high levels of the police hierarchy, can get together to work out whatever the issues might be. Now, when the police department has come to us and said that we need a legislative strategy in order to better do our jobs, then we add that ordinance on our agenda and we move forward with it, with discussion and then voting it in so that they can do that. You know, we've had several examples of that coming to our attention. So I'm concerned about crime. If it were up to me, there would be no crime. If it were up to me, I'd be able to create some kind of monitor that would detect before someone's intention in his mind and heart to create a crime. And I'd be able to detect and discern through my monitor that this individual was going to create a crime. And I would give that to the police well in advance so that they could be at the very corner, in front of the very house, in front of the door before the burglar walked in. I do not have that capability, ladies and gentlemen. The police department do not have that capability. And if you had it, there'd be no crime on your street. But what we do have is ears that we can hear and eyes that we can see. If you hear something that sounds wrong, report it. If you see something that seems like it's out of the necessary and out of the norm, report it, so that the individuals who have the experience can appropriately deal with the issue. But far too often, we allow crime to just congregate in our communities by not saying anything, and then we throw darts at people, when we should have been the first responders ourselves. I look out, I've got, on my street, I stay on Selma Street or Washington Avenue. One of the reasons we don't have as much crime on Selma Street is because I have some of the nosiest neighbors in the city of Mobile. And they're proud of it. They'll tell you, we look out for one another. If you're driving down our street too slow, we want to know, what are you doing here? Every one of our windows with those blinds, there's an indentation in the blind. You know why? Because we've looked out the blinds too much. But that's what it takes, ladies and gentlemen, being proactive so that we can let our law enforcement know what's going on. If somebody's riding in my community and it's not a car recognized, I'm calling. I'm calling. So it's going to take that so that we can really stymie some of the crime that we're seeing in our communities. And I'm appreciative of the chief, I'm appreciative of Director Barber, appreciative of Captain Jones, and all that they are willing to do, they're going to do, and I'm committed to the residents of District 2 and in other communities that I can help to assist them in whatever way that I can assist them to make certain that we see a decrease in crime in our communities. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Rich.
Oh, thank you very much. First, I would like to thank everyone who came out to the Medal of Honor Park's ribbon cutting for the new and improved and modernized Playground Express. Fortunately, the weather did cooperate for the ribbon cutting. The scissors did not cooperate. We had a lot of time trying to get those ribbon cut. I'd like to thank the president of our city council, Gina Gregory, who was there representing the council. Of course, Mayor Stimson was there, and most assuredly, Commissioner Hudson, who was also there. Without her funding resources, the playground would still be a drawing. So I thank her for her support and generous funding to make sure that this new playground is open and running for the public. It's a great facility. Come out and see it. And again, there were lots of people to thank. I'll thank them again in my newsletter. But I thank the administration, all the employees that handled it and worked with my office in order to achieve the goal, and of course the outside consultants. It's already been mentioned about the tax holiday. Take advantage of it. It's not only the city for giving you a tax break, it's the county and the state. So that's a 10% savings on a lot of products. There'll be a link in I'm sure, other council members' newsletters to show you exactly what you can purchase. And please go about doing something with that for this weekend. It starts Friday at midnight and ends Sunday at midnight. Also, the District 6 will have its Citizens Police Advisory Council meeting. I think we might be the last district that they'll move into, and this is going to be on August 10th. I think the doors opened at 5:30. The meeting gets started at 6, and they will be at the Connie Hudson Senior Center on August the 10th. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Rich. And Mr. Small?
Thank you, Madam President. On next Thursday, July the 27th, at 5 p.m. at the Christ Temple Apostolic Church at 801 Virginia Street, the City of Mobile will be hosting a little workshop for the community. They will be talking about the Tiger grant that the city was awarded for Broad Street. They will show the different drawings and renders and get some information from the citizens along the Broad Street area, Oakdale community, and down the Bay. Again, this will be held on July the 27th, Thursday, at the Christ Temple Apostolic Church at 5 p.m., inviting all the citizens in the Oakdale community of Broad Street to come on out on next Thursday evening. And remember that on Sunday, August the 6th, at 3 p.m., we will have our 5th annual Back to School rally. This will take place at the Pleasant Valley Shopping Center on the corner of Pleasant Valley and also Government Boulevard. Asking for all volunteers. If you care to volunteer, please contact me. And also looking for supporters, anyone that want to give towards the Back to School rally. Contact me at 208-7441 or cj.small@cityofmobile.org. And this is again for all the students of District 3 to come out on August the 6th at 3 p.m. at the Pleasant Valley Shopping Center. This event will be from 3 to 5 p.m. We will have plenty of school supplies, fun, games, and food. Again, August the 6th at 3 o'clock. And remember that District 3 is the place where things are happening. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, I'm going to Mr. Williams, and then we will follow back up with Mr. Manzi. John?
Put a time limit on Mr. Manzi down there. Everyone wants a big park. Thanks to Ms. Hudson and Ms. Rich, I mean that sincerely, our city has a great park, not District 6. On that same note, though, we are doing everything that we can to make every park as good as it can be. There is a master plan. There is a vision provided by Mr. Capps, who has really done a fantastic job in the last few years at developing our parks. But everybody can't have a big park. Within reason, we are addressing every park in every district with capital improvement program funds. In District 4 alone, we spent over $3.5 million by the end of the 2018 CIP. That's incredible. It's more money than the city used to spend in capital needs in a whole year for the whole city. So I ask for everyone's patience, but also a little dose of reality. We are simply not going to have Medal of Honor parks in every district, and certainly not going to have multiple in every district as some want. I want to thank Ms. Irene. Although we didn't hear from her today, she did think of us, and I just I want to say that I appreciate you, Ms. Irene. Thank you. The subject that comes up right now for me is water. Most of the city, I'd say, well, districts 7, 5, and 6 drain through 4. And it is a situation that we will not remedy. Some properties are going to flood. Some are going to have standing water for a little while. And there is no amount of money that is going to change Mother Nature or the way that we're able to rid certain areas of water. I am happy to meet with everyone and have done so for the last several months, it seems like now. And again, I thank the residents for their patience as we get around. Some things we're going to address. Some things are simply a result of living in this great city of Mobile. And I mean that sincerely. We enjoy the great big trees and green grass because of the water that we get. And there's a price to pay sometimes. Lastly, I was called last week to Navco area down at the end of Point Legier. And this is an issue that they're bringing up last week and we will address in future weeks, but it's a problem that we're having throughout the city. And that is that some believe that an empty lot is a great place to dump their lawn trash so that their grass doesn't pay the price. We're also, during this summer season, during the spring and through the summer, people are doing a great job of keeping up with their lawn. But they also must keep up with the laws of our city, and that simply is that you can't put out more than a 3-foot by 3-foot by 6-foot pile of trash. That is limbs and construction material, that is your own construction material, or the like. No tires, no household garbage. And we ask that it's all bagged, but limit the number of bags, as the rule says, to 15 bags. Lastly, it has to go on your property. It has to stay on your property near the curb, no earlier than 48 hours prior to pickup. This is all about getting along in our neighborhoods. We can do this. If you have a special need where you do a community cleanup or a project where you're going to exceed, you can simply call our office or call 311 for guidance on how to address it. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, thank you. Mr. Manzi?
Yes, Madam President. Quickly wanted to, and I'm appreciative of Councilman Small for reminding me, for the citizens in the Down the Bay community, we have a Tiger Grant meeting on Monday, the 24th at 6 o'clock at the St. Peter Baptist Church in the Fellowship Hall, and on Tuesday, the 25th, for the citizens along the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue area. Our Tiger Grant community meeting is that Tuesday, the 25th, starting at 5 o'clock both days, ending at 7, and that meeting will be held at the Stewart Memorial CME Church. So Monday at 5 at the St. Peter Baptist Church for residents of the Down the Bay community. Tuesday at 5 at the Stewart Memorial CME Church for residents along the MLK corridor. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, thank you. Over the weekend, Habitat for Humanity partnered with the city on a program that actually we are doing citywide, but we had the resources in my district over the weekend in Mobile Terrace. They are painting homes, and this is a much-needed program. I'm very grateful that Habitat and the city are able to partner. We'll be back in Mobile Terrace on Saturday. We've got about 6 houses that are scheduled to be painted. Following that, we'll be doing some minor repairs as well, and I'm happy to be able to contribute some discretionary funds to help make this happen as well. Over the weekend as well, well, last week wasn't this weekend. I think it just went through the week, is why I was thinking weekend. But the Hip Hop Week, we were at Langen Park last Tuesday, had a great turnout. It's good to see these events happening in West Mobile. I had met with Dirty Dan, Kalinsky Adams is his real name, but Dirty Dan is his DJ name, and asked him if he would bring one of the events to West Mobile, and he did. He brought it to Langen Park. Again, a great turnout. Tim was there playing football. I don't know how you survived all of that with those kids. But Chief Batiste came and he had on a jersey. It said Police 6, and I said, we need all of these for the council. I'm Council 7, Council 1. I think it'd be great for us to come out and be able to participate and have our own jerseys as well. I was a little jealous. But anyway, good turnout. It was so wonderful to see everybody who came out to volunteer for this event and the impact that they are making in our community. Market in the Park continues at Loretta Park through July 27th. Come on out and take advantage of this program while it's still there. It runs from 3 until 7 every Thursday through July 27th. Remember August 12th coming up. We'll be sending out some information about that, but I too am having a back-to-school bash. We'll have a movie at Hillsdale Recreation Center with a lot of games. The pool will be open, and a movie. At sunset, we will show a movie out at Hillsdale, so this is a great opportunity. We're also asking everyone who comes to contribute back-to-school supplies, and we'll give those out to the community action groups in the area that need those for their children in the neighborhood. Again, we will be promoting that a little bit more as the date draws closer, but it is August 12th at Hillsdale Recreation Center, a back-to-school bash and movie at Hillsdale. Tonight, I have a meeting with the neighborhood. We've been talking about crime, burglaries in the neighborhoods, and I have a meeting this evening with one of my neighborhoods in Ravine Woods. Director Barber will be there along with Assistant Chief Godwin and the Executive Lieutenant in Precinct 4. I applaud the neighbors for putting this together. I'm helping to facilitate on my end, but it's really the neighbors who have come together to set this meeting up and to talk about what's going on in their neighborhood and what can they do more proactively. The good news is that I think at least 1 or 2 of the guys who've been burglarizing these homes has been caught, and there have been some creative ways that have been responsible for making this happen. So we'll be talking about that a lot tonight, and I really appreciate all the help that we have received and for the support that the police department is giving us and these neighbors in the community. We are aware of what's going on. A lot of it's because it's summertime, and these types of crimes tend to go up in the summertime, but it doesn't make it any better. So we will be meeting tonight with this neighborhood to talk about what has happened and what they can do proactively. So I'll be looking forward to meeting with them. We also have a lot of infrastructure work going on in the neighborhood. Sidewalk repairs are still ongoing. We'll be in Mobile Terrace, if not today, this week, working on some sidewalks, the McGregor Avenue sidewalks. Hopefully we'll be finished soon. We've had some delays in weather, and that's created the problem that they can't quite get everything finished when we had hoped, but they are coming to a close soon, and so that's good news. Also, drainage work coming to Schillinger Road. 1 lane of traffic will have to be closed, and we'll be putting the word out on that when it happens. So with that, didn't somebody, oh, Mrs. Rich, I'm sorry. Mrs. Rich wanted to remind everyone about the meeting this afternoon, so go ahead.
Right, okay. That's the Public Safety Committee meeting. There are 2 distinct topics. One is the Citizens Advisory Council to the Police, and the other is body cams. And I look forward to a very good discussion and exchange of information. This meeting will take place at 2 o'clock at the council's conference room. If it's an overfull crowd, we'll come down here. So we're just going to judge it on the number of people that have come out. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else while we're here? All right, with that, thank you. We are adjourned.